Jackson Radio Show.
It is entirely up to us whether we lift the world to new heights or let it fall into a valley of disrepair. We have it in our power, should we so choose, to lift millions from poverty, to help our citizens realize their dreams, and to ensure that new generations of children are raised free from violence, hatred, and fear. This institution was founded in the aftermath of 2 world wars to help shape this better future. It was based on the vision that diverse nations could cooperate to protect their sovereignty, preserve their security, and promote their prosperity. It was in the same period, exactly 70 years ago, that the United States developed the Marshall Plan to help restore Europe. Those 3 beautiful pillars, they're pillars of peace, sovereignty, security, and prosperity. The Marshall Plan was built on the noble idea that the whole world is safer when nations are strong, independent, and free.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. That was, of course, Donald Trump addressing the UN, and he's telling them, go for it. Be the best you can be. I mean, think about it this way. Most of us we have family. We may have kids. The success of your children, if your children go out and they're very successful and you say, go out and be the best you can be, it doesn't mean other people's kids aren't doing great. Why can't we apply that same logic to countries? I don't know how you feel about your kids. I want my kids to do really well. Now, I don't think of it in terms of my kids to do really well and better than all the other kids. Yeah, like the bad guy in Scooby-Doo. I'm not like that. But if you ask me, do I want my kids to do better than your kids? I would tell you, yeah. It's not a competition, but if you're going to put a gun to my head and say, Kevin, do you want my kids to do better or your kids to do better? I want my kids to do better. There's no question I want my kids to do better. It isn't that I want your kids to do bad. I'd like your kids to have success, as much success as they can gather. But here's what I'll tell you. If my kids are lazy and shiftless and all that and won't do better, then I definitely want your kids to do better. I want your kids to do to the degree that they can do based on God's abilities, inside of them. And the thing about doing better it really isn't a competitive thing, because do better at what? If my kid is an engineer and your kid is an artist, they don't really compete per se. You go out and you find your little place in the sun. But the left hears it and they see it as this competition. They want to put a gun to your head. Oh, you want your kids to be better. Well, if you're going to do that, you're doggone right I do. I'm not going to apologize if you want to pit America against something else and then tell me you should feel bad about wanting America to do better. You're not going to get that out of me. We don't send our team to the Olympics so we can cheer for the other guys. We don't send our soldiers to war so we can cheer for the other team. We don't send our diplomatic corps to negotiate so that the other guys get a better deal. But that's the nation we become. We become a nation obsessed with taking a knee during the national anthem. Oh, I know there are people out there go, Kevin, we don't take a knee during the national anthem. That's Kaepernick. That's some of those other thugs in the NFL. No, we take a knee during the national anthem. We've been taking a knee for decades. We've been watching people run roughshod over this country, and we haven't said a whole lot. Now, to our credit, we went to the ballot box in the voting booths, and we voted out. But I would still tell you, we're not off our knee. And people call you racist, accuse you of being, a misogynist. They accuse you of being Islamophobic, etc. If you don't fight that stuff back, if you don't have a creative outlet for doing that, shame on you. Because that's taking a knee. America's not racist, and neither are you. We're not Islamophobic. We have lots of people over here who are Muslims and practice Islam. But I'll be doggone it if we're going to let you run your religion as our theocratic government. It's not going to happen. So we have to step up. And Trump is saying that in his message. But he said something else, and this was more specific. It had to do with North Korea. This is what he said. No one has shown more contempt for other nations and for the well-being of their own people than the depraved regime in North Korea. It is responsible for the starvation deaths of millions of North Koreans and for the imprisonment, torture, killing, oppression of countless more. Ask me, how many leftists? George Clooney, is he protesting against this regime? Susan Sarandon, Matt Damon, name them, Robert De Niro? No, they protest against Trump. A reality show billionaire builder who had the gall to say, you know what? I don't like the way politics is going, and I'm going to change it. Sounds like professional jealousy to me. Across the board. How much money he's made, TV reality star. The nerve of him. A guy who took branding and took it to the infinite level. Who said, I'm just as good as them. How many of you out there said I could run this country better than Barack Obama? I know I did. I'm not stepping up. Never will. I don't want any part of it. Maybe it's because I haven't made enough money. Maybe it's because I think there's a number out there that could get to me. I don't know. But I know I never wanted to be involved in the cesspool of that. I'm not prepared to go up there and fight because I don't fight like they fight. I'll get in your grill. So all I'm getting at is Donald Trump took the guts, took took his ball and entered the game. Put me in the game, coach, and he got in and he won, and these people are jealous. And now he's the one setting the standard of what America should be. And I love it because I believe in America first, and I believe many of you do too. I believe that we need to make America great again, and that's exactly what he's doing. He goes on to say this: it's an outrage that some nations would not only trade with such a regime, but would arm, supply, and financially support a country that imperils the world with nuclear conflict. No nation on earth has an interest in seeing this band of criminals arm itself with nuclear weapons and missiles. The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. The United States is ready, willing, and able, but hopefully this will not be necessary. That's what the UN is about. That's what the United Nations is for. Let's see how they do it. Now see, that's unbelievably genius. In its simplicity. It's genius. He says, I know your charter. I know what you're supposed to do. You need to go do it. He says it's time for North Korea to realize that denuclearization is its only acceptable future. The United Nations Security Council recently held 2 unanimous 15-0 votes adopting hard-hitting resolutions against North Korea. And I want to thank China and Russia for joining in the vote to impose sanctions along with all the other members of the Security Council. Thank you to all involved. But we must do much more. It's time for all nations to work together to isolate Kim's regime until it ceases its hostile behavior. Isolation. See, that's what we should have been doing in the first place. What Trump is saying is, you have this little rogue nation who's bullying the world. He's taunting the United Nations. But the United States is big enough to not even worry about what the UN has to say. But we respect it enough to where we're going to go ahead and try to listen to you and see what you do. But it's on you. And you can't tell me, and he said it in no unclear terms, it is an outrage that some nations would not only trade with this regime, but would arm it, supply it, and financially support it as it imperils the world. No nation on earth has an interest in seeing this band of criminals arm itself with nuclearization. And he's saying, all of you, you're participants. You're just as guilty. You just can't get any. That is crystal clear. See, I love it when Trump is ambiguous to some, but when he's clear, it's crystal clear. So it's on them. UN, solve the problem so we don't have to. But we can and we will. And it'll begin. I'm telling you right now. It won't begin with saying it. He's done with all the diplomacy with North Korea. It's if you want to get to our market, you're going to do this.
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.